So, good morning. We are going to see another presentation, and the presentation I want to pass to you is talking about the soil color. So, usually when we look to the soil, you can see in this picture some soil samples we can take from different soils. So we can see that soil has a color. It's a colored natural body, and we can find many colors, of course, in the soil. Soil colors is usually a physical property, very important physical property of the soil, which is probably something that we note immediately when we are going to watch the soil to make a soil observation. We look to the soil profile, we look to the soil surface, and probably it is something immediate that we note from the soil. It's a very important property, and is giving to us some information. Of course, we have a wide range of colors in the soil. We have the red one, we have the brown, light brown, we have pale or dark colors. Of course, in the soil, we never could find some colors like, for example, green pea or a brilliant green or fuchsia or violet or purple. Of course, we cannot never find this kind of colors in the soil. So, but naturally, you can see we can have a huge variety of soil. We have red soils, we have gray colors, we have soils with brown and very different tonalities of colors, of brown colors. We have the white one, we have the black one, we have the very dark brown, yellow, sometimes bluish gray. So we have many colors in the soil. So of course, soil color has a little effect on the behavior and use of soils. One exception could be, for example, the soil warming, because if we have a very dark soil from the soil surface, it will capture much more solar energy because of the color. But for the rest, it's affecting, not affecting so much the soil behavior. But is a very important information for us to understand some processes of the soil formation and, of course, some soil properties that are still occurring sometime in the soil. Provides, of course, valuable clues, and which help how scientists to classify and identify soil types and properties. Especially, we use soil colors sometimes to differentiate the different, to understand the different soil horizon or soil layers. Of course, the color is most important. So we used soil, for example, and the color of the soil. In the past, for example, several cultures used the soil colors for body paints. In the modern culture, we use the soil. We use soil matter, mineral, especially mineral, using the color to color cosmetics or ceramics, or for example, to extract some pigments for painting. We can say that all soil could be brown. That is the most dominant color we have in our soil. Is that true? No, I think it's not true. That is wrong, because the soil vary in color and depending of the material which is made up, and especially the location of these colors. We use a special system to determine the soil color. To determine the soil color, what the soil scientist is doing is not just expressing the color with an adjective or just with some terms to say green or red, or because this perception of the color could vary from a scientist to another scientist, from one individual to another individual. Everyone has a different perception of a color, and also a different way to express the color. So we need a base, a reference base to express this color of the soil when we determine the color of the soil, and we have to use an analytical system, a sort of official catalog for determining the soil color. Of course, soil scientists decide conventionally to use a system, which is the Munsell system, that we will see how it works. So we just use a sort of charts to compare a bit of soil to find which is the right color and of the soil, and how to express in an analytic way the soil color. So that is our official system to express the soil color. But why the soil has different colors? This depends on the composition of the soil. When we have reddish color, or we have yellowish colors, or brownish color, this depends on the component which soil is formed. For example, if we have hematite in the soil, the color of the hematite, the iron oxides, is usually red. When we have goethite, we have the color of the goethite is yellowish brown. When we have ferrite, it's reddish brown. Quartz and silicate minerals, they are giving a sort of grayish color. The white color, for example, we can find in the soil is because we have carbonates or other salts that usually they are white in color. So when we have, for example, some potassium mineral, we have some green color. When we have black or very dark brown, that is the color of the organic matter in the soil. When we have black colors, that means that we have manganese oxides. So at the end, the color of the soil is the resulting interaction of all these colors that that are given by the components of the soil. So organic matter, for example, is most important giving the color in the soil, especially in the uppermost part of the soil profile. Weathered mineral material composing the soil, of course, the quantity and the condition of the iron present in the soil. That's, for example, we can see in the uppermost part, the highest part of the soil surface, we have a browner, darker color, dark color because of the organic matter. Instead of the part of the subsoil, which is the second part of the soil in the more deeper, which is lighter because there is no organic matter. This soil, for example, is red because we have a lot of minerals. And for example, the hematite, which is an iron oxide, is giving this red color. So depending the quantity of this hematite in the soil, its covering is giving the prevalent color to the soil. Also, the color of the soil could be affected by the status of the iron. In this case, for example, when we have a water-affected soil, staying saturated by water for a long period, so the hematite or the iron oxides and also aluminum oxides are going to change the color because of the anaerobic condition of there is no oxygen, so the color is not more red of the hematite, turns into gray, blue or green color. And we can see this change of color, for example, in the soil. So then not only the minerals, but also the status of these minerals we can find in the soil, if they are in oxidation condition or reducting condition. So we know that usually the dark color in the first horizon, in the soil surface horizon, it's usually brown because we have more organic matter in the soil. And that's, for example, characterize what we call the A horizon. For the subsoil, the other horizon, like the B or the C horizon, usually the color is given by the minerals, the quantity of salts, or the presence of hematite, the presence of minerals, and the condition of the minerals. We say the red colors are usually associated with anhydrated iron oxides. That is giving to us also the information that we can find we have an oxidation environment. That means we have well-drained soil. If we have yellow colors, they are generally indicate that in somewhere there is some moist condition than red colors. So is giving to us also not information, of course, about the soil properties, even indirectly could also inform about soil properties, but is giving the information about the condition of the soil. How to determine soil color? So we use this system, that is the Munsell system. Professor Albert Munsell was not a soil scientist. He was a painter, he was an artist, he was an inventor that created this system. So the soil scientists just decide to use this color space system to find and to codify the color we want to express serving the soil. So this system is quite simple. It's a three-dimensional system. And is formed by three coordinates, we can say three components that we call U, value, and chroma. U, it's identify the specific color, is the base color. Value is the lightness or darkness of the color, is going in Z dimension, in the vertical dimension, and chroma is the light intensity is going in the horizontal dimension too. So what we use about how to we identify this system, the color using this system. So we use some color charts. We don't need to use all the colors in the systems because we know that in the soil we cannot find ever never we can find some colors, like for example the purple or the violet. Using these charts, we are going to determine which is the U, the dominant spectral color. That there are four dominant spectral colors and a combination of these four colors, which are red, yellow, blue, and green. The value, which is the relative blackness and whiteness, that means how the soil reflects the light. It's given by the light reflections. The chroma, which is the purity of the color, or better say, the intensity of the color. So, and the number of chroma is increasing, and the color is most brilliant as grayness decrease. This, for example, is another picture showing how this system is working. We have the circular sector. We have the U, which is the base color. Is given by numbers, and intermediate also numbers, expressing also the component of the color. And then we have the Z dimension from the external part of the sector to the internal part. We have the chroma, and of course we have the value, which is the vertical dimension, starting from the most light color, which is we give the score 10, and up to the 0, which is the darkest value of the color. So at the end, we use this system to identify the soil color. We can express with in terms of hue, value, and chroma with a well codified system, analytical system. So in this way, we can communicate very well and with no subjectivity the color of a soil. We can communicate very well among the community. So how we determine, of course, this color in the field? We use to determine the soil color in the field. We use generally moist soil. For convention, we use moist soils, but also we can determine on dry soils. We need to have the Munsell color charts. And of course, we have to consider that absolute black corresponds to 0 value, and absolute white corresponds to 10 value. These are the soil color charts that we use in the field to determine soil. You can see we have one page different charts. Every chart is a hue corresponding to a certain hue. As I told previously, we don't need to have all the hues of the system, but we just collected the most occurrent soil color soils that we find in the nature, and the number in the upper corner on your right is identifying the hue. In this case, we are displaying the chart 7.5 YR. That is the hue. And then you can see the process of the determination of the color is just collecting a small bit of the soil from the field. Better if it's moist, otherwise we can wet a little bit with some water. And then we have to look to find, to match the right color, just observing our bit and just going to fit with our color charts. In this case, you can see we can just going to determine which is the right color that we can find in the soil. We take just this little bit of aggregate of soil generally, and we try to find which is the right color. We have to find which is the color matching our soil. This is, for example, the process. So we find the right color, and then we can translate according our system. This is an example. For example, this is an example of the color we have found. In this example, we have 7.5 YR. That is the hue. And we express, of course, the value, which is just on the vertical bits of the vertical charts of our page, and then the chroma, which is going from in the horizontal dimension of our system. So at the end, what we express is the color. It's a code. We are just codifying the color according to a system. In this case, we have the hue, which is 7.5 YR. We found that the value is 4, and we put 4. We write 4 in our color description. We put a slash to express later the chroma. So 7.5 YR space 4/2. That is the color that we find, and we can communicate this in our soil description. Sometimes it's very important why we try to see the colors. It's very important because sometimes it allows now to differentiate the soil horizons, and how I say to you, it's probably the most notable properties that we can just see immediately in the soil. Sometimes the change of color, of the pattern of colors, it's indicating something important, is providing to us very important informations. Of course, the mineral composition and the mineral origin of the soil, especially the parent material, or, for example, the change in the soil development, in the soil formation. Another important information that it gives to us are mottles. Mottles are just a pattern of different colors that we can find in the same horizon, in the same soil horizon. That is an indicator there are just spots of different color in the soils that indicate that the soil has a periods of inadequate aeration each year. That means that sometimes is flooded, is saturated with water, and it's giving bluish, grayish, greenish colors that we call this process glazing. And if we have these mottles, for example, so the glazing is generally when we have all this color, only this color in the soil. That means the soil is permanently saturated by water. When we have mottles, that we have different spots, we have these colors, glazing colors, bluish, grayish, greenish, but we have also reddish colors or yellowish colors. That means that there is an alternance of periods during the year of waterlogged conditions and inadequate aerations, but we have also oxidation periods. Thank you very much.